All the work you do in Revit is contained in a single Revit project file. There's a few different ways that we can create new projects in Revit. We can use the Recent File screen or the application menu, both of these which we've looked at in a previous movie. So I want to focus just on the new file creation areas. Here we've got new or the architectural and construction template, or under the big R, the application menu, we can go to new and then project. Now, there's not a whole lot of difference between which way you choose it. If I choose New Project here, it brings up a dialog, New Project, and it lists out for me those same two templates that we saw listed here. And if I click this new link, I get the same dialog. So it's really the same command either way. The difference would be if you're already in a project, then you wouldn't see the Recent File screen, so you'd want to use the application menu. Now, the differences between the architectural template and the construction template are something that I want to look at here in this movie. So if I choose the architectural template and I click OK, and I could have gotten there with that shortcut, I get a really basic starting point. If we look at the project browser, we get a level 1 and a level 2 floor plan. We've got a couple ceiling plans and a few elevations. There are no sheets. There are no schedules. It's a really, really basic project. It's sort of like a no frills, just get me into the program sort of project. But there are lots and lots of settings or lots of things that can be pre-configured in a project template. And I'm going to just show you a couple examples by closing this, not going to save it, and opening up some of the other templates to take a look. And I'll start with this construction template right here, just as a point of contrast. When I open that, the screen here looks pretty much the same. But if you look at the project browser, you can see that there are some differences. Instead of just having level 1 and level 2 floor plan, I now have some additional floor plans showing on the list. Under 3D views, I have several additional views showing on the list. And if I scroll even further down, I have some schedules, quite a few actually, and I have some sheets already. Now let me show you how some of this works. All of those views don't really tell us very much unless there's something to view. So I'm just going to come over here and add a wall. And don't worry about the specifics right now. We'll be talking about walls and doors in a future movie. But I'm going to add a wall and a couple quick doors. And zoom in here. And this one is door number 1. You can see right there. This one is door number 2. You can see it right there. And this one is door number 3. You can see it right there. Now, if I scroll down and look at one of these other views, like a south elevation, you can already see the wall and the 3 doors, or perhaps this door quantity schedule. What you see here is that there is a single line item listed here, but it says the count is 3. So it's recognizing that I actually have 3 different doors on that list. Now, if I go back to level 1 and I select one of these doors and change it to something else, gets a little smaller, scroll down, open up that same one, you'll see I now get 2 different line items. So this was the construction template. And if you look at the names of these schedules, they all start with either QA or QC for quantities or quality control. So the kinds of things that a contractor might be interested in is counting stuff or verifying that everything is the way it should be. But they're certainly interested in the quantities that would be in the model so that they can order the correct materials and make sure everything gets to the site. So you can see that all these schedules are pre-configured to list out that kind of information so that they just simply start drawing and these lists are already populating themselves automatically. So this is one of the really powerful benefits of starting with a template. I'm going to close this one, and I'm not going to save it. And there are a few other templates that are provided, and I want to just show you what a couple of those look like. And to do that, I'm going to click the new link here and go to Browse this time. Construction and Default are listed here. Default is actually what they're calling the architectural template. That was that really simple one that had very little in it. And construction is the one that we just looked at. But there's also a commercial and a residential default listed here as well. Now we're going to begin a project here in the coming movies, and we're going to start it with the commercial default. And let me just show you what that template looks like. So I'm going to choose it right there, click OK. And Take a look. We've got some different floor plans, elevations, simpler schedules this time, just a basic door schedule, basic room schedule. But this one's got a whole bunch of sheets already in here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a wall. Again, don't worry too much about the specifics. I'm going to add a door to that wall. Again, don't worry too much about those specifics. Now, if I scroll down here, we would see that wall that I've just drawn from either the south or one of the other elevations, like the west or the east. Here's what it looks like from the south. Here's what it looks like from the west. Okay, we're just sort of seeing it edge on. I drew it at a slight angle. If I scroll down here, you'll see that there's a couple sheets that are listed here that already are set up for elevations. A4 has the north and south elevation. A5 has the east and west elevation. I'm going to open up A4 by double-clicking on it right here. And what you see is this right here is the north elevation. That's number 2. This one's the south elevation. That's number 1. Here's the model. Here's the model. Now, if I return to my floor plan, level 1 floor plan, and you zoom in here, this is the west elevation. That's number 2 on A5. The ones we just looked at are this one, number 1 on A4, and this one, number 2 on A4. Revit automatically inputs the drawing number and the drawing reference directly in the symbols for us. And when you start in one of these templates that's already pre-configured this way, you can basically just start drawing your model in the correct location, and you're already getting schedules that are populating themselves, like the one we saw a moment ago in the construction template, or sheets that are showing appropriate views already. There's a lot of things that can be pre-built and put into the template to get you started. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can't put in the template automatically as well. So in the next few movies, we're going to be looking at some of the early project setup things that we would want to do, like setting up levels and setting up grids and so forth. So your template can only take you so far, but it's a great place to get started, and you are highly recommended to always start your Revit projects with an appropriate template. Now, many of you may actually be in a firm that has their own custom template. So rather than choosing from one of the ones I've just shown you here, which are really just examples, you might be using one that comes from your office standards that somebody there in your firm has created. Regardless of the template you start with, though, all projects should really be begun with an appropriate template.